I have so many outfits saved on my Pinterest board of cute little pockets and embellished details, and that was more or less my inspiration for this first set that we are going to make. My boyfriend and I went thrifting and I found this gorgeous brown fabric. That's one of my favorite things to find at a thrift store, is really nice fabrics. And so when I saw this, we instantly bought it because I am obsessed with sewing. One of the reasons I also wanted to pick up this fabric is because I also have this really beautiful brown beaded fabric, which I thought would be perfect for a little pocket sparkle, because if there's anything that I'm going to add to my clothes that I make, it is something sparkly. I've had this corset top pattern for a while, and I am not gonna lie, I have yet to successfully make this top, and I thought that this would be the project that it would happen. Was it? No. I just went ahead, cut out the whole corset top. I sewed all the seams. I top stitched everything. I made it look so nice and professional. And I more or less did the same thing with the lining, just I didn't add the top stitching. I didn't get this on camera, but I did do a little fitting with myself of the top before I had sewed the lining to it, just to see how it would fit. That brown fabric is a little bit stretchy. So I was not thinking ahead in that my lining fabric is not stretchy at all. So I cut the main fabric to fit how it would if I was making something that was supposed to be stretchy, and this is where things started to go downhill for me. It was at this point that I decided to sew the lining and the main fabric together. I had yet to trim the lining. I was gonna wait until everything was lined up perfectly, so I matched all the seams. I understitched. I also did a top stitch for the neckline. And then this is when I decided to trim off the lining fabric, which at the time I thought was excess. But with 2020 hindsight vision, that was probably the appropriate length it needed to be, and I shouldn't have cut the main fabric. Of course, naturally, did I try anything on at this point? No. So I just went ahead and finished the top, thinking that everything was going to be fine. I ironed it, I hemmed it. I had it all the way done, but it was definitely 3 inches too small for me. After all that, I realized I made a huge mistake. The fabric that I used for my top is low-key a little bit stretchy, which is why I had to take so much off that back panel. However, the fabric that I used for the lining, it's not stretchy at all. So when I tried this on, I could not like physically put it on my body. So I think we're just gonna say goodbye to the lining altogether, and this is just gonna be like an unlined top. Does this technically fit? Yes, I'd say it technically does. Is it dancing appropriate? Absolutely not. Do I have any support here? No. Also a problem when I adjust, all of the raw edge is just like fully exposed to the world. So I think we need to add straps to this. So unfortunately for me, I hate how this looks. It just looks wrong, like mistakes were made, because guess how many mistakes were made? All of them. I am going to take a break from the top part because I'm genuinely so beyond frustrated with it. I'm just gonna go ahead and dive into the shorts. I genuinely should have just quit while I was ahead, because the amount of times that I made this top and then failed at it and tried to make it again and failed again and then tried to do something different was just, it was too much. I probably spent 2 days on this, which is absolutely ridiculous. So it was at this point that we moved on to the shorts. And luckily I have made these shorts before. I love this shorts pattern. It fits me so well. And so I knew that no matter what, the shorts were going to be successful. The one thing that I did change about this pattern is normally there's inset pockets. So instead I didn't do that because I wanted it to be a patch pocket with the sequin beaded fabric. So that's basically where I started. I just cut out some pocket squares, and after I sewed the darts for the 2 short front pieces, that's when I was placing the pocket. I just top stitched that right on and finished up the shorts very easily. I think in almost every single one of my sewing my Pinterest board videos that I've made a version of these shorts. So if you guys have not seen my other sewing my Pinterest board videos, girl, I have 3 of them. So much for you to binge watch. Now it was time to move on to plan B for the top, or I think at this point maybe it was plan C or D. I decided to use this dress pattern that I've had. I have made this dress several times also, and I am obsessed with this pattern. I love it. But instead of making it a dress, I was just going to crop it at the waist and just have it be a top instead. Because this fabric was stretchy, I actually didn't even need to add a zipper to the back. It slips on and off somewhat easy. Should I have put a zipper in? Probably, but I did it and now it's done. I could not be honestly more in love with this set. I think it is so cute. I have already worn this outfit and these 2 pieces as separates so many times, I can't even count. This project was a 12 out of 10. Aside from how many times I had to remake that top. Also, hi, my name is Katie. I make fashion and sewing content here on YouTube, so if that interests you, I highly suggest you hit that subscribe button and join our fashion family. Anyways, back to the video. For our second project, I have had this pants pattern forever. And I also have had this blue suede fabric for forever also. I actually got both of these things at Joann's closing sale. I have been pushing off making this because pants are a little bit intimidating and the zipper fly, just don't even get me started. We'll get there eventually. But I have definitely had intimidation about attempting this project, but I knew that it was time. I wanted these pants to wear throughout winter because they're the most beautiful blue color, and this pattern is just so gorgeous. Genuinely, these pants were not as complicated as I thought. I definitely think it's a little bit more intermediate advanced, maybe not advanced, but definitely someone who has had experience making pants before, you will be fine with this. The instructions that Vogue had was not the most beginner friendly. It's definitely more of an intermediate project, I will say. Something that I did decide to do for the side seams, I wanted to do flat felt seams just because I thought that that would look cool. I wanted these to kind of have a look of jeans, and because there was really pretty top stitching on the front and back pockets, I wanted to have top stitching be something that was elsewhere in the garment too, just because I felt like it tied it together, and doing a flat felt seam I thought was a nice way to include more top stitching and just give these pants a little bit more detail. I only did that for the side seams where this panel was on the front and the back of the legs. I could not access the inner seam as easily, so I did just a regular standard seam for the inside leg, and then I just finished that edge with a overlock stitch. I think it was at this point that we were getting ready for the zipper fly, and when I say these pattern instructions are not beginner friendly, they're not even intermediate friendly, because the instructions for the zipper fly were so unclear. I took to YouTube, and luckily I found an incredible zipper fly tutorial. It will be linked in the description if you need help making them, because honestly, they're kind of complicated, but also not at the same time. There's just a lot of little steps, and I feel like it could be easy to miss them. So definitely this tutorial made the whole process very simple.
The first step is to interface the fly faces.
was really easy to follow, and I was able to successfully make the zipper fly. Luckily though, after getting the zipper fly installed, I really just had the waistband to do, and that was fairly simple. After the waistband was on, the very final step was to hem these pants. And what I will say about this fabric, if you are a tall girl, this is a great pattern because they are so long, and even after I hemmed these pants, they are still so long. So I think at some point I'll go and seam rip the hem and just make it a little bit shorter because they're probably an inch too long for my preference for myself. This is like the best part about sewing your own clothes. Like, you can totally customize the length for anything. I was worried about these pants not being long enough, but oh my God, plenty long. I am so unbelievably impressed with myself in how these pants came out. They are so cute. This barrel pant, I can't believe I made this. I can't believe I made this. I feel like I did such a great job. I'm so proud of myself for finally overcoming my fear, facing my pants project, and not only did I do that, but I successfully completed it. Because I made these pants, in my head I was like, I obviously need to wear a top, and something that I see all over Pinterest are these beautiful oversized ruffly blouses, and I love them. I don't have one in my closet, so I thought that this was a great opportunity to try and make one for myself, especially because I have this old curtain that I think would be so beautiful. I got this pattern from Gracier, and I have made some of their patterns before. 12 out of 10, love them, highly recommend. And this pattern was very simple to follow. I did deviate from the pattern a little bit, just in the terms of I did French seams for every single seam in this, especially when you're working with a chiffon or a sheer fabric. I think French seams just look the best. It's really clean. The raw edge is just fully enclosed. So if you don't have a serger or anything, it's a really nice finish for your seams. So that's just like what I opted to do for the entire blouse. This fabric is very challenging to work with. I was just having issues getting it to be perfect. So if you look really closely at my work on this shirt, it's definitely not the best. But if you're just like looking at it like how probably any normal person would look at a top, you would probably think it's fine. It's just like when you're up close and you're really paying attention, it's like, oh, that's not the straightest line I've ever seen. I actually made this bralette top from them in my last Sewing My Pinterest Board video. And it was my original intention when I bought this bralette pattern to make it to wear with this blouse that I'm finally getting around to in this video. And so pairing them together was such a satisfying moment for me because I feel like I fulfilled the vision that I had in my head. I love how this top came out. It's so pretty to me, and I feel like it can just go with so many different things in my closet. And when I wear this top with the pants, I am obsessed with this outfit. I think it is so cute. It definitely fulfilled the vision that I had in my head. So while we're kind of on the roll of making an entire outfit centered around these pants, I, of course, needed to make a little mini coat. I got this fabric from a secondhand fabric store. I swear that this used to be somebody's carpet. It gives carpet texture or like really heavy duty upholstery fabric. And I was like, that's honestly kind of the perfect fabric to use for a coat because it's really dense and warm. I had a very limited amount of this fabric, so I had to be really strategic when cutting this. I have had this jacket pattern and I have made this jacket before. So a clever way that I was saving fabric is this jacket has a pattern for a pleat in the back panel. So I just chose to not do that. And also I feel like this fabric could not handle a pleat because it was already so thick. And I also decided to make this jacket a cropped length instead of a full length jacket. Something I knew that I did want to do that also helped me save on fabric was I wanted this selvaged edge of the fabric to be the sleeve cuff. So I ended up also not cutting out the sleeve cuff pattern piece. I just extended the sleeve length on the jacket, and that actually did end up having me to save fabric because I wasn't cutting out a whole cuff. Another way that I was saving fabric is I didn't cut out the collar that this coat had patterned for it. Instead, I cut the selvage edge of the fabric, whatever was left over, and it was my intention to use that as a collar, kind of as like a mandarin collar instead of a like fold over collar. I basically did the same thing with the lining, just kind of copied the pattern pieces that I had cut out of the coat. Assembling this jacket was very simple and straightforward. I just sewed all the side seams together. I sewed the yoke to the back panel and then the back piece to the front piece at the shoulder and the side seams, assembled the sleeves, sewed those on, and then just rinsed and repeated for the lining. So at this point, it was time to connect everything together. And this is when we added in the collar. I basically just assembled it how I would installing a normal collar. And then once I connected the lining to the outer shell of the fabric, I realized that it was a little bit shorter than I would have liked, but luckily by some miracle I had enough fabric to be able to make a waistband, which really saved my life because if I were to have hemmed the jacket as it was, it would have been too short. So getting that extra little bit of fabric from the waistband was a huge save, but it was at this point that I was really realizing that I cut the lining too short because when I was trying to figure out how to get it into the waistband, it was just too short. It wasn't going to fit. So my solution was to actually take this ribbed ribbon and I just did a top stitch along the bottom edge of the ribbon and the top edge of the ribbon to enclose the raw edge of the lining and also the waistband, and that ended up working perfectly. Now I had my full outfit, pants, top, and jacket, but not only that, all of these pieces go so well together, so I can mix and match everything that I just made into so many different outfit combinations, and I had so much fun playing dress up with all of these pieces that I have just created.
We can cry when it's over. We can cry when it's over. We can cry when it's over.
There is nothing more satisfying than a successful sewing project, and there's nothing more devastating than like a terrible sewing project, and I got a little bit of all of that within this video. I could not be more thrilled with how all of these pieces came out, and I know that you guys love these Sewing My Pinterest Board videos too, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I have so many more coming up for you. Anyways, until next time, bye friends.
We can cry when it's over.